From MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
Party's nomination for president. I'm Carolyn Cummings in Chicago with what you missed from her keynote speech on the final day of the Democratic National Convention and how she made her case against former President Donald Trump.
Everybody is really joyful. Everybody is positive about the future.
Montana's delegates at the Democratic National Convention talk about their time in Chicago. We have their reactions coming up. And a replica of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial will be making a stop in Butte next week. Coming up, we're going to tell you how and where you can go see it. Alrighty, it is 6 o'clock on this Friday morning. Jane McDonald, Matt Elwell, and really quick, did you see how much that camera was shaking just then? I mean, the wind is nuts out there, man.
It really is. And tonight, or today, this morning, we're seeing some very strong wind gusts. We're going to continue to see that throughout the day. So keep that in mind. And we also have the potential of some thunder showers later today. And that has the potential of bringing us some gusty winds as well.
Yeah,
so
not a good mix.
Yeah, the fire danger might be a little higher today as we're setting things out. The early morning temperatures generally holding into the 60s, near 70 this morning in Belgrade. A lot of that has to do with the stronger winds for the early morning. You see that little burst of moisture that's out there. These are all low-based. We had a severe thunderstorm warning early this morning for parts of Beaverhead and Madison County, mainly concerning wind and the potential of some rain. The afternoon brings some scattered thunder showers back to the area, 3, 4, 5 o'clock, and then things are going to clear out in a hurry. Here's a look outside. This is Montana State University campus camera. Temperatures expected to be into the mid-80s. That will make the atmosphere a little more unstable, bringing that potential of thunder showers back into play. I'll talk more about that in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you very much, Matt. Now, a middle school teacher in Great Falls has been arrested and is facing criminal charges after he allegedly sexually assaulted a juvenile. Now, law enforcement asking the public for more information. MTN's Anissa Coomer has the details.
A Great Falls public school teacher was arrested on Wednesday for 2 counts of felony sexual intercourse without consent. Great Falls Police Department detectives assisted investigators from the Lewis and Clark County Sheriff's Office in executing an arrest warrant for Michael Jarrett, a teacher at North Middle School. The alleged crimes reportedly occurred in Lewis and Clark County several years ago when the victim was a minor. Jarrett was placed on administrative leave by Great Falls Public Schools as soon as they learned of the allegations. The Great Falls Public School District declined an interview but commented on the situation via Facebook Live Thursday morning.
As soon as the allegations were known to us, we placed the teacher on administrative leave, and he will have no access or involvement with district premises, property, staff, or students. We are in the process of our own investigation. We take these allegations very seriously, and we are uncompromising in our commitment to safe and secure schools.
According to the arrest warrant, Jarrett was remanded to the Cascade County Adult Detention Center and has since posted bond on the $100,000 warrant. The Great Falls Police Department says they will continue to work closely with Great Falls Public Schools in matters relating to the safety of Great Falls children and urge anyone with additional information to contact the Great Falls PD or the Lewis and Clark County Sheriff's Office. MTN News will continue to update the public as the story unfolds. I'm Anissa Coomer, MTN News.
And the Democratic National Convention wrapped up yesterday in Chicago. And in the midst of the star-studded event, the faces of some local Democrats may have caught your eye during roll call on Tuesday evening. The Montana delegates shared their experiences at the convention with MTN's Megan Thompson.
So the energy here, I feel like people are just more excited than they've ever been. And I've never been more excited to be a childless cat lady in my life than like as a public educator. Hearing Tim Walz last night was really significant to think of a public educator being the vice president of the United States. It's somebody who I can really relate to.
Butte representative and member of the Crow Nation, Devin Hawk, says he connected with Michelle Obama when she spoke of her mother's recent passing and the impact she had on her life. Hawk says he was reminded of his own mother, an Indigenous leader and Butte matriarch who passed away in 2022.
I've always grown up with empowered women in my life. My culture, you know, the Native American culture has a huge feeling for, you know, the women in our lives, our grandmothers, our mothers, our sisters, our aunts, just getting away from that mistrust and the hatred and the vile messaging that we've had towards women in the past. I think it's important that, we need to start leaning into the powers that, the strength that we get from the women in our life.
It's positive, just a positive vibe really has caught me over the last few days. Everybody is really joyful. Everybody is positive about the future. Just being good Democrats, being together, wanting to speak about what's right about our country, what's right about everybody in our country, and get away from the negativity is really what struck me.
And last night, the Democratic National Convention wrapped up, and as of this morning, 73 days until that November election day comes around. And the Democratic National Convention wrapped up in Chicago last night with Vice President Kamala Harris promising to be a president for all Americans as she accepted her party's nomination. In her acceptance speech, Harris laid out her policy vision and for the nation and took on her opponent, former President Donald Trump. Harris is the first Black and South Asian woman to officially receive a major U.S. party's presidential nomination. And CBS News' Caroline Cummings has more from Chicago.
A historic night in Chicago as Vice President Kamala Harris accepted the 2024 Democratic nomination for president.
America, we are not going back.
Harris vowed to create an opportunity economy, push for a Middle East ceasefire deal, and revive the failed bipartisan immigration bill. The former California Attorney General also made her case against former President Donald Trump.
In many ways, Donald Trump is an unserious man. But the consequences of putting Donald Trump back in the White House are extremely serious.
Supporters at a watch party in Harris's hometown, Oakland, say the energy during the speech was electrifying.
You tear up because you know how important it is.
The theme of the final day of the Democratic National Convention was For Our Future, with the focus on some key domestic issues.
We have a duty to care for our patriots who serve our nation.
From the military to gun violence.
Our losses do not weaken us. They strengthen our resolve.
The night featured appeals from battleground state Democrats.
Kamala Harris, she gets us.
Are we going to fight? Are we going to vote?
And a former GOP congressman.
I'm putting our country first.
There were also musical performances from the Chicks and Pink. Caroline Cummings, CBS News, Chicago.
And former President Donald Trump fired off dozens of posts on social media during the last night of the convention and in TV interviews. He slammed Vice President Harris's speech, claiming she did not give enough specifics. Trump is campaigning out west today over in Nevada and Arizona as speculation builds over whether or not independent candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. will endorse him. And Vice President Harris's speech fired up Democrats last night, but her remarks did leave out some important context. Scripps News correspondent Stephanie Liebergen has a closer look at Harris's acceptance speech.
In a 40-minute speech, Vice President Kamala Harris brought the Democratic National Convention to a close. A lot of her remarks focused on her personal background, but she also attacked her Republican counterpart. So we fact-checked some of her claims.
We know what a second Trump term would look like. It's all laid out in Project 2025, written by his closest advisors.
Harris and Democrats have spent months linking former President Donald Trump with Project 2025, but it is not a Trump creation. The group behind the project, the Heritage Foundation, created it for the next conservative administration. That could be Trump, but it might not be. The former president has repeatedly tried to distance himself from the controversial project, but it's worth noting some of his former staffers were part of the team that put it together. On another key issue this election cycle, the economy, Harris said,
he intends to enact what in effect is a national sales tax, call it a Trump tax, that would raise prices on middle-class families by almost $4,000 a year.
This is an apparent reference to Trump's idea to add a tariff on all goods imported into the country. A study by the Center for American Progress Action Fund, a progressive think tank, says Trump's possible 60% tariff on goods from China and a 20% tariff on everything else would amount to a $3,900 tax increase for a middle-class family. and on the issue of reproductive rights.
As a part of his agenda, he and his allies would limit access to birth control, ban medication abortion, and enact a nationwide abortion ban with or without Congress.
On the campaign trail and on social media, Trump has repeatedly said the issue of abortion should be left up to the states. In the spring, Trump said he was open to limiting birth control before walking that comment back a few days later. And during a Mar-a-Lago press conference earlier this month, Trump seemed to be open to banning medication abortion. But his campaign staff later clarified that that issue has already been settled by the Supreme Court. Stephanie Liebergen, Scripps News.
And a group in Butte is hosting a rally next week in response to an incident of hate speech last weekend. The group Stand Against Hate is hosting an event called the Butte Melting Pot March at Father Sheehan Park on Saturday, August 31st from 10 in the morning until 2 in the afternoon. The event being held in response to some hate demonstrations like earlier this week and to promote love and unity in Butte. And a replica of the Vietnam Memorial in Washington, D.C. is coming to Butte next week. The exhibit, called The Wall That Heals, is a scaled-down version of the original wall that bears the names of American troops killed in the Vietnam War. The traveling exhibit will be on display at Father Sheehan Park in Butte from Wednesday, August 28th to Sunday, September 1st. The exhibit is free to the public. And it was a favorite summer spot for many, Big Timber water slide. However, the park has been empty for decades. As MTN's Haley Monaco tells us, the new owner is looking up. Where once was a slide, there will soon be a place to stay well above the old park.
After years of seeing the iconic but closed down Big Timber water slide sit along the interstate unused, the time to officially say goodbye is quickly approaching.
I think it's kind of one of those bittersweet things.
It's like saying farewell to an old friend.
That was the thing to do in the summertime.
After decades being shut down, some campers at the nearby KOA still find the old Big Timber water park fascinating.
My daughter is 13 and she's all into like haunted houses and stuff. So we were like, oh my God, it's an abandoned haunted water park.
New owner Jake Klingensmith understands the water park's past.
Obviously, it's a part of Montana history.
But is now looking forward to its future with plans to take the slides down this week.
The slides, I think, are the ugly part of it, but the metal structure behind me, I think, is really neat. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Klingensmith first started revamping the KOA after purchasing it in 2020. Now he's turning sights to the slides.
I'm going to use the tower for a treehouse Airbnb, so I think that would be really cool for, folks traveling through Montana to come stay in a treehouse that overlooks the Yellowstone River.
And travelers can say the same, hoping for a place filled with fun history to be revamped.
A great place between Bozeman and Billings. It's an awesome destination.
I think it would probably improve the area for sure.
I'd want a giant water slide.
Giant water slide?
Me too.
Whoop, that's 3 water slide votes. Make it 4.
While it may not be another water slide, it will sure be a fresh start for the legendary location. Near Graycliff, Haley Monaco, MTN News.
Well, and I think Haley hit it on the head. I mean, it's just kind of an iconic part of Southwest Montana.
And I'd like them to do something to preserve the area, and why not?
Definitely. I mean, I think everybody at least sees it on their way to Billings.
I have no issues with it.
No, I like it. All right, 6:13. Before we take a break, I'm actually going to head out to the ballpark for this next story. Now, there's a lot of familiar characters at the ballpark, whether it be the mascots, the Cracker Jack salesman, but this guy.
What is going on there?
Listen, Matt, I'm really trying to wrap my head around it too. So let me try to paint a picture. This is the Athletics' final season over in Oakland.
Yeah.
Things got weird in the stands. Let's just say that. This gentleman wearing a broccoli shirt suddenly whipped out 2 stalks of broccoli and just started, I don't know, hanging out, having fun.
He's got some power greens going on for sure.
Absolutely.
And that hair is awesome, by the way.
He is killing. I mean, he kind of looks like a broccoli top on the top of his head.
Maybe that's where that comes from.
So
I don't know.
He's really going all in on it. I mean, there is no doubt he's a fan of healthy food, but did he get that at the concession stand?
No,
I don't think
you had
so.
to sneak that in under
Absolutely.
something.
Yeah, that was under his shirt for sure. All right, time for a quick
Is that
break.
health food? Get that out of here.
No, what are we doing? Get the Cracker Jacks back. All right, quick break. When we come back, though, Matt's going to have a look at your forecast, top stories coming your way, as well as a couple of very special guests joining us on Montana this morning.